I'm trying to figure it out too, I know. My name's Eric, also known as Motivate. This is my second year hosting Dcentral Con, and I built one of the largest, if not the largest, NFT and DeFi communities in the world, formerly called NFTs.tips, and then into your conduit agency, and now it's New Friendship Tech, which has been highlighting accessibility, diversity, inclusion, creating events that have been completely free all over the world for the past 6 months, and amassing 20,000 attendees in person and redistributing $300,000 to the Web3 ecosystem. So we are going to get into it. We have a lot of panels today and a lot of panelists. Some are here, some aren't. So I'm going to be sitting in between to help assist and just roll with the punches here. So our first panel is Building Community, Power in Numbers. And our moderator is Nelson Merchan. And so we're going to get rolling with him and then introduce the rest of the panel, and then we will just get into it. At the end of the panels, when we do have an intermission, we will have room for Q&As, and we will do maybe 2 or 3 questions off the audience, and that will be to panelists or to me. And those questions can be anything from what is DeFi or the future of finance to what is the best wallet to what marketplaces are up and coming. Do you see Solana crashing? I'm just kidding. Just whatever you want, from Ethereum to Bitcoin to Algorand, et cetera, et cetera. So without further ado, Nelson and the Building Community panel, if you guys would like to come out, please, that would be great. And those of you in the room, if you can, just give me a little bit of energy. Hey, there we go. Okay, we do have some life. Good. There is a pulse.
Hello. Okay, awesome. Thank you. Thanks for the intro. Hello, everyone. My name is Nelson. I'm CEO of Light No Media. We are an advisory marketing and events company. We help support early stage and later stage projects and companies in the space. And for us, community is very important, so I'm very excited to moderate this panel. And if everyone can start with introducing themselves, what they do, and also kind of their interest or role when it comes to building communities in the space.
Awesome. I'll start. So my name is Yasmin Morrison. I am an investor at Florida Funders. So we are, I believe, still the most active investor in Florida. We do a lot of early stage, so a bunch of crypto, B2B, enterprise SaaS. I'm also part of Bankless DAO and Fight Club, a sub-DAO, so quite active there as well. Right now, as an investor, obviously I look at communities as a form of traction, and it's really important when we make an investment. But previously, I've had my own companies, and one was very focused on community building, so I will definitely talk more about that experience throughout this panel.
Morning. Excuse me, I got a bit of a cough. I'm Dominique, co-founder of Little Bitcoin. It's a avatar rapper and meta label, we call it. I'm also a multi-platinum producer. Work with artists such as Yo Gotti, Lil Wayne, Juice WRLD, Burna Boy, French Montana, a bunch of names, to name a few, but thank you for having me this morning.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Alexi Rabadam. I'm a new addition to the panel. I'm the COO of Lil Bitcoin and also the CEO of FRENS Media, which was the first media company to run a music and tech summit in Decentraland. And we thought that we were only going to have 200 people. We ended up having 1,600 people onboarded that came to the music and tech summit. So I'm really excited to be here and chat with you all. Thank you for having me.
My name is Eric Spivak. Some people know me as Motivate. I built the largest NFT and DeFi community in the world over the last 2.5 years. I'm CEO and founder to Your Conduit Agency, as well as New Friendship Tech, which is technology creating new friendships. We've done shows in every major metropolitan city that have been completely free. Free entry, free food, free drinks, and redistributing wealth from sponsors, vendors, partners, and more to the attendees to those events, revolutionizing the way that we do events. And posted projects / drops for everyone from Hennessy to Netflix to Doja Cat to Flostradamus, French Montana, and a lot of others. So, yeah, AMA.
I'm Dan. Sorry for causing all the commotion. I was a little late. Dan, a.k.a. She's Toshi. Just the DEGEN. I have no idea why I'm here. I'm here for the popcorn. That's what I'm here for. I'm head of sales for memenft.com. We're a platform NFT marketplace, just looking to find our way in the market. So
Great. Thanks, everyone. I think just to dive in terms of building communities, what do you guys think are the most important attributes that should be a focus and a priority to communities in the space at the moment, as well as dealing with the bear market? Conditions have obviously changed pretty dramatically in the last year. And so what have you guys learned from the bull market in terms of building communities, and how are you seeing the way communities are currently being built during a bear market?
I mean, I think a market shouldn't dictate your product, and if your product is community and you put people over profit, then realistically the community's values and taking care of the people should allow for the business sides of it to run itself. And so you shouldn't allow the hype over substance to overtake the narrative of your community or your brand or your business or your network. So I think if you can ignore the noise and static and really push forward with the core values and things that people are motivated and inspired by, your community should follow suit and do the same thing and create an echo chamber of positivity that makes other people interested in joining in.
Yeah, and I think it's definitely, I mean, if you look at the difference in the parties, like 6-8 months ago, you know, people were throwing this extravagant kind of parties. You were getting a Terragun in your gift bag, which is insane. And now it's like kind of like down to basic again. But I guess my point here is that just like from a startup perspective, when I look at investing in startups, you know, I think that the best one will stand. You'll weed out the things that aren't working, aren't kind of real. So I think the same thing in community. You will like the people who aren't truly passionate, truly believers. They probably won't be part of it anymore, and that's fine. I also think you can give people, I think there's a lot of people like myself, I'm a little angry at certain things right now, so I think you need to be understanding of that in the community as well, of a lot of things going on in crypto. But I think the true believers will still be a part of the community, and you'll keep building, just like you said.
I think right now it's really important to continue to build community, especially with the morale being down across the board. What I notice in my community is the people that are there right now and are participating in Discord, Twitter Spaces still, they've been there from the beginning, and they really believe in the project. So we really focus on super serving them and, you know, giving them what they came to the project for. I think if we look at it like, what would I want if I was a part of this community? I mean, I am a part of the community. I'm the, I guess, leader of the community, but if I was the end user, if I was the one receiving these benefits, what would I want right now in this time where, you know, everybody's head is kind of down? I think that's like one of the biggest focuses right now.
I like to think there are 3 markets. There's hodl, spendle, biddle. You know, right now we're in the biddle market. So this is where we build. This is where, you know, liquidity's thin and not much moving around. But if you can take the resources you have at the table and make something that fits in the market and does well, community is a side effect. You know, I think attention to your community once that community shows up and attending to what they need, that's not necessarily what they want. You know, it's a harder thing to do because horde mentality sometimes dictates wants over needs. And I think communicating those needs that, you know, we're here for the long haul. You know, it's been 8 years in the game for me, you know, like just starting to get involved really more intimately with, you know, smaller startup stuff in crypto. And it's a whole different ballgame than the open market and a lot of the bigger stuff that's happening. And a lot of the bigger stuff is why everybody showed up, right? Pompliano quoted somebody else. I don't remember who he quoted, but he said, show up for the money, stay for the money. And I think that's true. And it's 2 different terms to me. You know, like show up for the money came because what, 59,000x on Bitcoin? And then you realize like, oh wait, this is a sandbox. We can do some really cool stuff and actually make sociological impact on the entire world with a world computer that we all have access to now. Like, that's the future of money. So I'm staying for the money.
I really like the point that was made about fulfilling a need. I come from a sales background, so it's really important to understand your community and learn as much as you can about them. So for those of you that are building and are trying to figure out how do I build a stronger community, when you do have doubt and just confusion in your community, it is important to have conversations with your community about, okay, what are you looking for? What can I do to support you during this time? Whether that's education, whether that's I don't know, maybe it's that they're looking for a specific type of product. Maybe your product isn't even supporting them in the way that they're looking for. We have an avatar superhero, and we also have a rapper. When we asked our community, are you looking for more music, or are you looking for more comics? Are you looking for just more content and more visuals from us? We found that majority of them said comics and visuals, which we thought that, well, actually they said comics, and what was it, music? Comics and music. And we didn't even realize that until we had done a poll on Twitter. So it is important to be having conversations with your community at this time about what they want to see. And sometimes they're going to say, I want this, but then going back to the needs conversation, you have to figure out, is that what they want or is that what they need? So in terms of building community during this time, it is important to figure out, do they need more education? Do we need to talk about FUD? Do we need to talk about positivity? What is it that they actually want to see in the community? And you can learn that by also looking at what their comments are online, by having conversations, doing R&D within your own communities. You could also do that by, even just sitting down one-on-one and talking to them on a Zoom call. A lot of that research is really important when it comes to building community. So I think in terms of this being whatever type of market this is, it doesn't really matter what market we're in. You have to really learn about the people and the consumers within your community in order to develop a better product.
In terms of onboarding, it seems like retail is beginning to be taken much more seriously now than ever before in terms of bringing them on board to crypto, getting them to become a part of the community, because a lot of crypto projects and companies have basically just focused on a very small subsect of the crypto community that for the most part is very speculation focused. And they're realizing that you can't be fighting over 10 people when there's billions of people out there. So have you seen that shift in terms of a much more focus on figuring out how to onboard retail and how to get them to become part of the community? And if so, how is that different from kind of how communities have been built? Because obviously there's kind of that onboarding process, which could be a bit tricky for people that are not crypto natives.
I think it starts with education and accessibility, right? So if you can break it down into layman's terms, if you can make it digestible and palatable, that's all about presentation, and presentation is key. You could have the best food on earth, but if it looks like something that you wouldn't want to eat, as lack of a better word, then you're not going to try it. But if you have the best food on the earth and if you have the worst food on earth and it looks amazing, people will at least give it a shot. So first and foremost, you need to be able to get people to at least give something a shot. You need to break it down to a point that they'll actually set up that wallet. Once they set up a wallet, ideally you can get them to convert their fiat into crypto. After that, ideally you can show them the different options of ways that they can utilize their money or invest their money or save their money, and then also how to take their money out, and then just showcasing like the world of opportunity that exists with getting involved in this space. It's literally a format change, and we see format changes all the time, from cash to check to wire transfers to Venmo, Zelle, Cash App, etc., to where we're at now, or from cassette to vinyl to et cetera, So I think you just have to find some middle ground that's understandable for people to really get it. And then once they do, just kind of helicopter dad or mom or training wheel or bumper rail until they feel confident enough to be able to extend that information to others.
I think Zelle is a step back. Just kidding.
Touche.
I'm in crypto, bruh. we are Zelle. No, I think education is important, the most important thing, and I think it's the education of the other layers deeper. You know, like NFT, we're on the NFT stage, right? I've been in the space a long time. I've been in coins, I've been in tokens, and now I'm in NFTs. Understanding the supply and demand relationships and how they are the same, and then understanding how just because in a fungible token, you know, you have liquidity and you're able to measure that against, you know, the calculus, there's math between market cap and volume and all that stuff, right? Understanding that relationship in NFTs is the same, and it's predicated on community, right? So in a 10,000 item PFP, you're basically, you know, how Bitcoin has 21 million, you have 10,000. So it's for everyone to hold one, you need 10,000 people to hold one, right? And then if another 10,000 people show up and want one, price is exponentially, you know, gone up. It's a parabolic curve at that point, right? So I think understanding how liquidity works in these systems as well gives a lot of the people that are in NFTs a lot of education to how to trade these things as well, because I feel like a lot of it is, you know, hey, jump on the boat, and when things start getting funky, because, you know, we're looking at the blockchain and you guys are looking at, you know, the spaces and the actual social aspect, when you should be paying attention to the blockchain as well and trying to learn what we're doing as well. It's important because it's like almost like building an army to teach retail how to actually trade. Because as somebody who started in retail, you know, I'm a kid from the ghetto started with this journey with 4 digits in my pocket, and last year I missed being the 1% by this much, you know. And for me, it's because I understood that relationship. I jumped into the rabbit hole and I kept going. And a lot of people don't really do that, and I feel like it's imperative that we should try to get everybody to do the same thing, because looking at the blockchain, building this army for the bigger market is, especially with all the stuff that's been going down, all the negative stuff, like not your keys, not your cheese, you know, like get off of centralized exchanges, get in DeFi, like, you know, even DeFi itself, proof of stake, stake weight, all of this stuff is, you know, technically a downside risk, but we take those risks because they have huge upside potential, right? So I think educating on a deeper level is huge.
I think education, when it comes to onboarding, is essential, but more importantly, you have to understand who you're educating. For us, we run a hip-hop project that's a superhero, and he's also in a comic book. So we understand this is the type of user or the type of, I guess, consumer that we have. So what's the best way to educate them? So a lot of the education we do is we do it through entertainment. So we put it in the music, we put it in the comics, make it more easy to digest. A lot of people show up for our project just for the hip hop or just for the comics, and now we have to walk them through how to, you know, set up a wallet or do things, and, you know, eventually they might, like you say, go down a rabbit hole and start doing DeFi and doing these other things. But I think the approach that we take is really simplistic, is understanding, okay, who is the consumer, what's the demographic look like. It's the same thing we do in the hip hop industry. If you want to go on a tour, you have to understand where your hot spots are, and then you do your tours there. So that's how we treat the onboarding.
I could just add one last thing. From an investor startup perspective, I would say half of the startups I'm speaking to right now's kind of key mission is to make crypto mainstream. So they're really working towards that in different ways. So that's one of the kind of key themes I'm seeing right now.
Yeah, and in terms of onboarding the masses, it is also important to think about the people who are being forgotten. So, for example, we do work in the hip-hop industry, and a lot of the people that are coming from impoverished communities don't even have access to their own laptops or their own cell phones sometimes. So you have to think, how do we onboard the masses when not everybody has access to this kind of technology, or they don't even know how to gain access to some of this technology? And it does include inclusive marketing. So thinking about, okay, if someone is disabled, how can they access my project? If someone is from a community that, you know, maybe they don't have $100 to purchase my product, then how do I create something that is accessible for them? So when it does come to creating a project for the masses, you do have to think a little bit outside of the box. Like, who am I missing? Who am I not targeting? And a lot of the times in Web3, just to be honest, we are targeting rich white people. And it is something to think about, because when you're trying to onboard tons and tons of people, if you're only targeting that audience, yes, you might make a lot of money in the short term, but you're missing a lot of money in the long term. So did someone say something?
Jay Woo, I just had to shout him out.
Oh, hey, Justin. So just, when you're thinking about marketing, it is really important to consider all of the people that you are forgetting. So just keep that in mind as you're building your communities as well.
I just want to add what y'all said in terms of, the basics. Like, you kind of correlated it to hip hop or music in general. The basics in being an artist in music is like, you have to have a bio, press kit, website, domain, right? Your name secured across all social accounts, et cetera, et cetera. And in crypto, you need to have the basics as well. So if you can give people the basics, if you can provide that accessibility mixed with some education, after that comes empowerment. And so it's similar to artist development or artist management, but it's the basics of, finance or financial incentive or financial literacy. And this is the future of financial literacy, in my opinion.
And I think it's really the want to I guess market your product for the masses, because we all in here because we into NFTs or DeFi, or we all kind of sit on one corner, but it's a lot of people in Web 2 that want to be involved with what we got going on. They want to buy into these projects. They want to own NFTs. They just simply don't know how, or maybe they don't have the means. So I think it's our responsibility to find a way to, bridge the gap between Web 2 and Web 3, because it's not many of us in Web 3. Like, not to say anything like this conference, for example, like, it's not 500 people in here, but if this was, I don't know, some type of Web 2 bank finance conference, it might be packed. But that just shows it's like maybe 1% of people on the planet that are in the Web 3. I know I'm not 100% accurate with that, but it's not a lot of us, is what I'm saying. So
I think it was 2 last year.
2%?
Who knows now?
Yeah, something low,
probably
right?
0.5 right now. It'll probably be
something
10.
really low. But I say that to say, like, what's good for all of us that are participating in this space is more mass adoption, because, point blank period, we make a lot more money like that. We make more impact like that. We're going to have cooler projects, more innovative ideas.
Can I just make one last point? I think I kind of want to talk to the builders here for a second, because I feel like it's important. NFTs are huge, and I think a lot. Like, I had a music artist that made it to #1 on OpenSea, beat Snoop Dogg, like with their collection, right? And then I made a suggestion. I said, your secondary collection, maybe do something with all the royalties going to the first collection holders. Like, do something, like you can make a staking dApp, you can do all kinds of stuff, right? And connect your next onboarders to your first ins, to your guys that got in at the ground level with you, and keep your collections connected. Because I feel like, there's a point in this space, especially music NFTs. I'm very bullish on music NFTs, but I feel like they need to be connected to each other, because at that point, there's no difference from a dev that's launching shitcoins and fungible token space. Like, a lot of the Ponzonomics that can happen in crypto can be very easily avoided if we're connecting those collections together and giving, like, a portion of that passive revenue that comes in from royalties to the people that were in your first collection. I feel like building that is huge. I'm done.
Unfortunately, we have to end it here, but obviously, I appreciate all the insights, and I appreciate everyone for coming and joining us, and hope you guys have a great rest of the day.